Good day, good afternoon, good evening to all of you, wherever you are in the world. So, once again, this is Nomad Fury, and we're back for another episode of the Nomads podcast. Okay, so it's been a long while, guys, that I haven't done any podcasts. I'm taking a break for just a few weeks, but right now, here I am. I'm back again for another episode. So we have a special guest for today, guys. So he is from Levana Finance, which is under the Say network. Okay. So please welcome to the show the head of communications, Mr. Jonathan Caras.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. I really appreciate you having me on the show.
All right. And also, I would like to say hello to all of our subscribers and to our viewers who are tuning in to our podcast right now regarding Levana Finance. So, guys, we will be learning more on what Levana Finance is all about. And also, we're going to show you its tested version and how it really works, and also some of his insights later on. Okay. So, Jonathan, are we all set?
I think we're ready.
Okay, so first things first, guys. Before we get things started, just a little bit of disclaimer here. This doesn't promote any financial or investment advice. Just to be fair and transparent. Okay. Now, Jonathan, let's try to stroll back in time, shall we? Now, before you got into Levana Finance, could you share how did you got introduced into the crypto and blockchain for the first time, and what made you decide to be onboarded with Levana?
Sure. So, wow, I feel like I've told this story 100 times, but so I'll try and give it a unique angle. So I'm 40 years old. So I started with technology very young. Made I started with like the TI-82 calculator, programming very simple games, and then more advanced games. So back in the 90s, and I was a script kiddie in the 90s. I had started a software company focused on mobile apps in 2008. And by 2011, I was a big believer in decentralized services, primarily focused around BitTorrent. So I was a heavy user of BitTorrent. I used it for all kinds of stuff, not even just for totally legitimate purposes like decentralized storage. And I recognized that there was a critical problem in terms of reputation management around seeding to seeding to downloading ratios. And I was first introduced to Bitcoin in 2011 when a buddy of mine started mining it, GPU mining it out of college in the Jerusalem College of Technology. And so he came over and showed me. I had a gaming PC at the time, and so he showed me. We synced a node. We set up some mining software, and I thought, wow, this is a really interesting experiment that could be used for reputation management to help secure BitTorrent, or to at least create private servers that in a decentralized fashion rewarded or at least signaled who were healthy seeders and who are not healthy seeders. So that was my first introduction to Bitcoin. Unfortunately, I was busy building my first company then, and I ended up formatting that computer. And I went through I'm not sure how many Bitcoin were on there at the time, but that turned out to be probably my first mistake in the world of crypto. But it wasn't worth anything at the time. So I can't imagine that I would have hodled until 60K. And then I had built my second company, which was a video streaming company. Later in 2012, we fundraised for it. It's based on a patent I created for mobile to mobile video streaming. That was called Glide Video Messaging. And then we did very well in terms of building a consumer product. And I had an employee in 2014 that would not shut up about Bitcoin. And I was really turned off about it. I felt like it was pretty much only designed for nefarious purposes. Then in 2016, another mutual friend introduced me to the Bitcoin white paper, and I had just sold, my shares of that video streaming company. And so I was looking to diversify a portfolio, and I wanted to buy gold, and gold where I lived was very difficult. It had very challenging properties. Number one was you could get ripped off buying, fake gold. It was very hard to store it. It was very hard to transfer it or to uh, to uh, to split it up. You can't sell half a gold coin, things like that. And so there were a lot of attributes that I really appreciated of commodity money. I liked the fact that, governments couldn't just print more gold, that there's a finite amount of gold in the world. And so then when I read the Bitcoin white paper, and then I read, some of the posts on Bitcoin Talk, that either Satoshi had written or others had written, that's when I really got red pilled and fell down the rabbit hole. So that was towards the end of 2016. So then I decided, instead of buying gold, to buy, a bunch of Bitcoin. And then, then I got one of at that point I had sold another company in the fashion space that I had built called Screenshop. So I'd done a project with the Kardashian family, and we sold it to Snapchat. And so I partnered with one of my investors, and we created a hedge fund called Lionshine Capital. We invested in 2018 in about 60 different private deals. So we were early investors in Solana and Near and Badger, and we ended up getting invested in Matter Labs, and there were two theses that I had, besides for the general open finance thesis. I was very early on MakerDAO. We were probably one of the first voters when the MakerDAO actual on-chain voting, and then later when there was signaling voting. So we were early participants in governance there. And we had a thesis, or I had a thesis, that the two areas of growth were going to be focused around you could argue three. So it was around scaling as an infrastructure. So I wanted to just be invested in everything that was scaling focused, and then around anything entertainment focused. So I had joined the Starkware team at the time, so I'd given a number of different lectures internally about the benefits of NFTs. When I saw punks come into space, it like blew my mind. I ended up and then investing in something called Flamingo DAO, which is one of the largest holders of blue chip NFTs in the Ethereum ecosystem. And then I worked with Delphi on two scaling reports and one NFT report. And while I was at Starkware, we closed with DYDX, we closed with Argent and SoRare and Gods Unchained, which then became Immutable. And so then I did technical sales for Immutable, explaining what the difference was between validity proofs and fraud proofs, and data availability layers, and off-chain sequencing, and all the different elements of that are challenging around scaling blockchains on a very core technical level. And at that point, Delphi was putting together, had started making an investment in Terra, and I was pretty hot on stablecoins. I had invested in MakerDAO and in Frax and in Olympus and in Empty Set and the forks of Empty Set, and a few others. And I was introduced to Terra, and I really fell in love with the model. It was a very similar model to another token that I had invested in 2018, which was called Haven. So Haven was a two token model. It had a volatile token and a stable token, and then they would use minting and burning mechanisms, and it was merge mined with Monero. So that's where when I saw I had this thesis that that you couldn't program on top of Haven, and nobody really wanted to merge mine Monero. So if you use the Cosmos SDK to create the same model as what Haven had used, and you had a virtual machine on top of it, that you could create a censorship-resistant stablecoin. And I started, describing this vision to people, and then people said, "Oh, you really have to meet this guy Do Kwon because he's working on a very similar project." So that's how I ended up in the world of Terra. And so when Delphi kickstarted their Delphi Labs, so they were working on, they were interested in three different products. So a money market, a spot market, and a derivatives market. So I came on to play a few different roles at the derivatives market. And so then that became Levana, which was initially on Terra up until the crash. And I was actually brought in as one of the team members at the Luna Foundation Guard to help design a more robust alternative to UST, which was entirely algorithmic. After we also built a very successful GameFi platform on Terra. And so then after Terra crashed, we migrated around, we hopped around to a few different places within the Cosmos ecosystem. We were very interested in Kajira, but it was permissioned. We're very impressed with the liquidity and everything, and the quality of work at Osmosis. But about 2 years ago, I was introduced to Jeff, the founder at Say, and we reconnected through Grover, who was a mutual friend of mine, and we just saw everything that was kind of being built, how they were really, really solving a lot of the problems that are found within Cosmos in general, and even just broader, that are just found within layer one ecosystems. So sub-second block time, on-chain Oracle, on-chain matching engine, order book, deep liquidity, really easy to use wallets, and most importantly, permissionless networks, so that you can really inspire lots of different innovators to come and create awesome different applications. And then that's how Levana, which Levana in and of itself is a GMX style perpetual swap. So I'm happy to unpack that. And I know I've been talking for a while. I apologize for that, but that's a little bit of my history. That's how we got here, and that's some of the projects that I've worked on in the space.
Wow. So it's a really interesting story that you have shared to us on how you got introduced into Bitcoin, crypto, and blockchain, and ended up right now in Levana Finance. Thank you so much for that, Jonathan. For sharing to us, about your journey. Now, and speaking of the Levana Finance, could you share what is its mission and a vision for us users?
Well, so Levana finances the website. What we normally call it is just Levana Perps, or just Levana in short. And it is, I think that the real goal is to produce advanced financial services that are accessible by a mass market audience. And if you look at what Robinhood has done, Robinhood did the impossible. They made it so that the average person could trade options, so that the average person could build an effective portfolio, and dollar cost average. They did things that people thought that came from Schwab or came from other traditional finance services, even like maybe their personal bank, Bank of America, Chase, etc. That it was out of reach of the general consumer. And so our vision within finance, within crypto, and just as a whole, is to build a product that is sticky enough that the average consumer will want to use it on a regular basis, and will use the product to objectively better themselves through educational introduction to advanced financial services, which today are primarily accessible only to the few elite. You had to be born in America, or maybe England, or a few other countries. You had to make more than a certain amount of money a year. You had to, have, minimum, expendable income, and in many cases you needed to be verified as some type of accreditation. So all of these things which kind of create a caste system within the world of finance, we see those as um, as uh, morally or ethically evil, because just uh, they just exemplify the wealth gap that we have in the world, and a lot of it is based on knowledge that people will have habits. And I saw this living in Brooklyn. I lived in Brooklyn. I was studying at a rabbinic seminary there. This must have been about 20 years ago, and I saw that the like specifically, let's say within the lower income housing communities, whether it was Hispanics or African Americans, that they would often buy groceries, just one day's worth of groceries at the local bodega, and the local bodega had significant price markups, so that you ended up paying sometimes 30% more for your basic essentials like milk and bread, yogurts, things like Coca-Cola, things like that, as opposed to if you went 10 minutes farther to the local supermarket or Walmart, or you got a Costco membership. So then, if you're in a low income bracket, then the percentage of your monthly salary, and you're really living paycheck to paycheck, you're eating up, almost 40, in some cases 50%, and it's probably even worse today with the rising price of the basic baskets of goods, such as food like milk and bread, that they were spending 50% of their income on food, and it would be relatively simple for them to make life choices and to become better educated, to change their purchasing behavior, and then be able to save 30%, which ends up becoming over 15% of your total monthly spending budget, just from small life choices. So it's I've seen hands-on that if you don't know about finance, then you're always going to be stuck in the have-nots, and you usually need some type of catalyst. Like if there was something like as sticky as TikTok, but that taught you how to get out of debt, or taught you how to save money, or how to deposit money to be able to earn real yields, or to be able to use conviction in an understanding of the change of a price of a commodity or a security over time, to be able to build up an investment portfolio that incorporated a number of different varying risk factors, from being secure assets that are going to be subject to low gains, but are relatively similar to like the bond market, and then build up a broad portfolio, including riskier assets. Then you ultimately, by the time that your children are grown, you're going to have a nest egg of equity that you'll be able to do things like buy a house. So you're not going to be subject to renting your entire life. You'll be able to buy a car instead of leasing. You'll be able to exit out of the financial ecosystem that you were kind of born into, and you'll have this freedom, and especially freedom from debt, because ultimately living a life in debt is living a life in slavery. So those are, I think, some of the higher ideals that we bring to the table, and what we'd like to achieve, through the success of effective decentralized finance.
All right, so that's an interesting mission and vision that you have shared to us right here, Jonathan. Thank you for that. Okay, now it's time for us to focus on the platform of Levana Finance. So just for the sake of those who doesn't have an idea on how the fully collateralized perp trading works. Could you explain that to us? And also, how would you differentiate your platform compared to the other ones out there?
Sure, great questions. So, first, I think we should answer what is derivative or leverage trading. So, when you buy spot, like let's say that you had, let's say that you had, 1,700 bucks, and you could buy one Ethereum with that. Now, if the Ethereum went up, so you would have made money. If the Ethereum went down, so at least on paper, you would have lost money. But at the end of the day, you have one Ethereum, and you can hold that Ethereum in your wallet. You can put it into a paper wallet. It's just yours. With a with a, a with leverage, so you can take that same buying power, and you can leverage it up. So you could actually own for the initial price, the collateral of one Ethereum, you could end up owning 10 Ethereum or 20 Ethereum or 30 Ethereum. So it doesn't come without a cost. There's a significant associated risk, with the platform, because you're essentially borrowing that other 9 or 19 or 29 Ethereum tokens, and you are paying a fee to the liquidity providers that are essentially lending you all of those tokens. And if the market moves in your favor, then you receive the gains as if you had all those extra Ethereum. If the market moves against you, so then at some point you're either going to hit a stop loss, which is something that you set as a trader so that your position will close without complete liquidation, or if you didn't set a stop loss, so then the worst case scenario is that you would lose your entire position. So your upside in this case with something like 30x leverage is, 30 Ethereum, which is a massive upside, and your downside is relatively capped, that it's just you could lose one Ethereum token. So it creates this asymmetric risk reward profile, which if you are an advanced trader, or even just a casual speculator, you can take on mitigated risks for substantial gains. And I touched a little bit on how it works here, but you've really got three different actors on the platform. You've got people that think that the price of an asset is going to go up, so they open long positions. You have people who think that the price of an asset is going to go down, so they take on short positions. And then you have people that want to be the house, that they want to be the liquidity providers. They don't want to necessarily take a bet of whether or not the price is going to go up or is going to go down. They just want to earn fees from the borrowers who are essentially betting if the asset is going to move in one direction or the other. So you could say you get to choose on Levana to be one of those three different types of people, and that's depending upon what your risk tolerance is. The most conservative thing, and it comes with risk. It's not risk free. But the most conservative thing that you could do is just become a liquidity provider, and then you would earn interest. So that interest could be substantial. Just to throw out fictitious numbers that we're seeing on testnet, is you could end up earning 20% annually or 30% annually by depositing things like Ethereum or Bitcoin or Atom or potentially other tokens. And so then you're not necessarily taking a direct a bet as to whether or not the platform, the price of Bitcoin is going up or down. You are somewhat exposed to the to the success of the traders, but the system is designed through something called a funding rate to minimize your exposure to the success of the traders, meaning that longs and shorts should be paying each other. It shouldn't, in an ideal environment, it shouldn't come from the liquidity providers. And so that's the least risky part, which still has risk, is to be a liquidity provider. And then the more risky part is to be directionally exposed, either through taking on long or short positions. And that's the platform in a nutshell. When we call ourselves fully collateralized, what we mean by that is that that you can only open a position that actually exists in the platform. So you can't just take the platform can't take on debt. as assuming that the platform works as intended. So with other perpetual swaps, especially around the time of the collapse of Terra, we saw them become insolvent. And insolvency is when a platform is required to pay out more than it actually has deposited in the platform. And this is a big problem because the worst thing that you want as a trader is to expect that you're going to get that you have these gains coming to you, but the tokens don't really exist in the platform, so the platform just goes into debt, and then you end up getting screwed because you took on all this risk, but it wasn't well funded, it wasn't fully collateralized, and so then now you can't actually benefit from being right. So that's one of the things that makes Levana Protocol and Levana Perps different than than some of the other platforms out there. And then in terms of the differentiator between GMX, is primarily that we have segregated markets. That if there is some type of catastrophe that happens in one market, any negative impact is only is siloed or contained within just that market. So if you're a liquidity provider to Bitcoin, but let's say, for example, that there was a Terra market, if Terra had crashed or the Luna token had crashed, you wouldn't be exposed to that. And that's different than systems like GMX that use these blended baskets of tokens, where being a liquidity provider is essentially purchasing an ETF of their liquidity pool, where if there was any blow up that happened in any one token in their platform, it would negatively impact all holders. So those are some of the other security provisions that have been taken into consideration in the design and structure of the system.
Wow, yeah, that's really awesome for us to hear it from you, especially the fact that you have mentioned the security, right? In which, I had to admit that, we are still vulnerable towards security, because we are still at, the blockchain and the Web3 industry is still at an infancy stage. So one of the issues that we are experiencing nowadays, for several years is the cybersecurity, in which we have experienced so many hacking incidents. I know that you have heard of some of the news regarding about that, right? So this is one of the main concerns that as users, it's about the security of the platform itself. You know what I mean, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we take security very, very seriously. Besides for just, working with, incredibly high quality, core contributors to the platform. We have completed successfully our first external audit, which was completed about 6 weeks ago by a very reputable firm that did a great job called FIO, FYEO. They found 4 security flaws in the system, which all were patched. They reviewed it afterwards, and they were very happy with it. Since then, we have worked with another, very reputable platform called PeckShield. So PeckShield is about 3 weeks into the current audit. So it's our second audit. So far, they have found one additional, concerning security or potential security issue, which is currently being patched. And we anticipate over the next week completing the second audit with them, and then obviously getting the review and the green light that any concerns that they did had were audited, were fixed. In addition to that, we're working with a bug bounty program called Immunify, where they have white hat hackers. They have hundreds of white hat hackers that attempt to find security flaws in the protocol. And then, they have a bug bounty where they get massive rewards for, successfully uncovering, flaws in the system. So, we'll probably end up having a third audit, but we want to batch that into, some changes and, things around the upcoming token launch, because there is some software that's still being written in terms of airdrops to our community members, airdrops to our historical GameFi participants, and to people that have been participating in our incentivized testnet. We partnered with blocked.cc. We had over 100,000 people or 100,000 wallets that tested our beta. So we've really been under like heavy fire in terms of usage of the beta. So very excited to bring that to market over the next couple weeks.
Wow, that's really awesome for us to hear it from you, on how can you assure guys that it's really good for us, and it's safe to trade there in Levana, especially the fact that you guys have been audited, and also that you have mentioned about the incentivized testnet, right? So I am going to share this to the screen a little bit, about the testnet version of the Levana Finance. But before that, I have another interesting question for you. Okay, so one of the highly anticipated blockchains that will be launched this year is Say, right? My question for you is, why you guys chose the Say network?
So we really believe in the Cosmos scaling solution, and Say is a sub-second block time. So it's a super fast blockchain. It's optimized for traders, for people that are building trading platforms. It's permissionless. So that means it focuses on innovation. With any early stage projects, you get for every 100 entrepreneur that tries, you get 99 failures and 1 success. So really the only I think one of the key elements that led to the success of Ethereum and Solana and a few other chains that have achieved product market fit and a critical mass is that they focused on inspiring builders. And Say has really done that. There's over 150 different projects that are building on Say. I've had the opportunity to speak with dozens of them. There's some really high quality projects, and a lot of familiar faces, going back into my days at Terra. And we are excited to build on the Cosmos SDK, on a layer, on one of the fastest layer ones, alongside with hundreds of other entrepreneurs. And we are, building a permissionless decentralized protocol that is designed to enable builders to extend the features and functionality that Levana brings to the table. So we have robust APIs for the core elements of leverage trading and real yield. So we expect new, and we have things like we don't have order books, and we do that for because it simplifies the liquidity provisioning, and you can have instant openings. So that means that programmatically you can always guarantee to open a position as long as there's liquidity, which you can't do on a platform like DYDX or Vortex or other exchanges that require order books, because you need a maker and a taker on other exchanges. So we are really primed to be the cornerstone perpetual swap on Say that will enable other entrepreneurs, other development teams to build really unique experiences. And those could be very broad. It could be order books on top of our exchange. It could be gamified experiences. It could be structured products like vaults that allow you to do things like hedging to remove or the risk of impermanent loss when combined with automated market makers. It could be delta neutral cash and carry bots. There's a number of really advanced financial services that require perpetual swaps, and we've built through our APIs and our sample code the perfect the bedrock or foundation for other people to be able to make really cool stuff, and probably stuff that we've never even thought of. So we're excited to see the we're excited to see uh, innovation, and that comes from a focus, a focus narrative and a high quality user experience. So things like building out building out the core infrastructure that's needed for good trading environments, like on-chain oracles, on-chain matching engines, sub-second block time, wormhole, like liquidity and bridges, high quality wallets. This is all the infrastructure that you need to make an ecosystem. And I think I think what Say has done is taken a lot of the good parts of that came from the days of Terra on Cosmos, and applied that to building a really great ecosystem. Plus, the marketing team and the business development team and developer support team are just top notch in the industry. So very excited to be building on Say.
Wow. So at least we've heard from you on why you guys chose the Say network for operating your Levana finance platform. So yeah, I know that Say. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is it true that the mainnet of Say will be launched within next month?
Yeah, they're targeting a June launch. That's correct.
Yeah, just for our subscribers and viewers to be aware, Okay. Yeah, thank you. And also I know that this is something that you guys have been waiting for, in which I am going to show you the testnet platform of Say. So I am going to share the screen. But before that, if they want to join the testnet, so could you share how do they get started first?
Sure. Probably the easiest on ramp is to connect with us on Twitter at Levana_protocol, and then there you'll see also the link to the link to our Discord. Join the Discord. Verify your account, and then start performing some of the missions. So the missions focus around learning how to use the faucet, downloading the Leap wallet. Creating an account there, to making, using the faucet, making your first trade, learning what the difference is between a market order and a limit order, understanding how stop losses or max gains work, updating an order, closing an order, viewing your history page, going to the earn page, providing liquidity to the protocol itself. So these are all the types of actions that will make users eligible, where their Say wallet address will be recorded for future airdrops. Now, doing those actions doesn't guarantee that you will get an airdrop, because there will be extra steps that are needed in the future, but at least you'll be on the list. And right now, for the incentivized testnet, there is 1.5 million Levana tokens that will be distributed to to participants in the testnet, and in the incentivized beta, and then there will be ample farming opportunities later through a lock drop, through bridging primarily Ethereum and Bitcoin into those corresponding liquidity pools once we launch on Say.
All right, so thanks for the guide, Jonathan. And how do we get started, in participating in the incentivized testnet of Levana? So let's not wait for us to share here the screen. So I am going to do this. All right, so here we are right now on the main page of Levana Beta. So guys, this is under the testnet. So I have already logged in with my Leap wallet, and this is how it looks like. So back then, in the one of the Say testnet missions that I have done is, Levana is the Levana project itself, in which maybe days ago, Jonathan, I've already set like a long position. You can see right here, guys. Here in the testnet, there is what we call the faucet. So when we do the faucet, so it's like 1 ETH plus zero point 0.1 say. So Jonathan, is it only once every 24 hours, right?
I believe so. So I think you've already tapped it at the beginning of our call. So it's probably not worth it to tap it again, because we do have we do have a lot of other projects are actually linking to our faucet, because our faucet had the highest level of stability in terms of the say that it gave you. But yes, I'd skip this part of the tutorial and let's jump right into making an order, the difference between market orders and limit orders, and then what some of the other what are some of the other features that you see over here on the right side of the screen.
All right then. So this is how it looks like, guys, for Levana's fully collateralized perp trading. So let's say assuming that I am a beginner and I don't know how to do the testnet, and I've already connected my wallet. So Jonathan, could you guide us right here, the subscribers and viewers, on where do we start first?
Sure. So on the top right of the screen, underneath your wallet address, you'll see that you have the option to select either a long or short position. Long means that you are speculating that the price of the asset will go up in the future, and short means that you're speculating that it'll go down in the future. So let's say that we are, bearish ETH right now for whatever reason. So you would click short.
Okay.
And then now we could decide whether or not we want to open a position at the current price, which is called market, or if we wanted to open it at limit. So if you click on the limit order, you'll notice that a new box appears
Yes.
underneath the leverage. It's the leverage bar,
Yep.
and let's say that we're happy opening up a short position. And what limit does is limit is on chain. It would mean that your position sits in the pending orders bucket, which is underneath the trading view on the left center of the screen.
Okay.
And your order would be pending until you come in until the market moves in that direction that you suspected. So, for example, we could say if the price right now, the price is 1,856. If it goes to 1,800 and and 70, start open up the short. Now we don't need to make a complicated order like that, so let's just go and click market, and you'll notice that the box for the limit order disappears. And so let's say that you can either right now you have it looks like a little over 1 ETH. So you can type in, why don't you open a position for $100? So under the
$100.
collateral, under the collateral. So just you can type you can denominate it in the amount of Ethereum that you want, or the dollar equivalent. So the default is the dollar equivalent. So we put in $100.
Yep.
And then now you can set your leverage. So the default is 10x leverage. Let's say we want to slide that up to roughly 20% leverage.
20%.
You can drag the bar over. It doesn't matter about having it exact, but you can have it. Now, stop loss is very interesting. Stop loss means that if the market moves against you, you'll close the position. So in this case, because we picked a short, moving against us would mean that the price actually went up, because we're making a bet, or we're speculating that the price is going to go down. So why don't you put in 1,860, which is slightly higher. It's about $4 higher than the current price. So this means that if the market starts to move against us, our position will automatically get stopped out to minimize the amount of loss that would incur. And then there's this other sliding bar, which is unique to Levana, and this is called max gains. You can think of max gains as a take profit. So we might want the lower the more conservative you are in your take profit, the lower your fees are going to become, because actually from an economic perspective, because this is well funded, your position requires less collateral to keep it open. So because you have to borrow less collateral, we pass the savings on to you, and thus allowing other people to be able to trade with that same collateral. So it's to incentivize you to try and think about what's the percentage amount that I want to that I'd want to close my profit at. So let's say that, I would say drag it kind of like to a third of the way over, and we'll see what type of profits, so you can drag it halfway, so right now you're at about 365% profit. So
Mhm.
and you'll notice that your borrow fee reduced significantly by setting that max gain. So now I think we're ready to open the short. So click
Okay.
open short.
I open it and then my wallet appears and then I just approve, right? So
Yep.
there is when it comes to the gas fee, so there is what we call the low, medium, and the high, right? So it's really up to us, if we want to make it fast, so we just set it to high, correct? Yep.
Uh, I'm not sure that's currently implemented on the say testnet, but it's pretty snappy anyways.
Yep,
We are
it's
getting a lot of traffic on testnet, so we
mm,
have seen some orders fail just because of some bots that are spamming the network. So let's that this processes and that your order goes through. If we have any issues, we can always just try to place the order again.
yep.
But it looks like it's processing,
Okay.
and and
Let's
let's
say
see.
I want to try it low first, okay? Because I am using the Leap Cosmos wallet. So let's see what happens.
And so
So the transaction is still pending. So it
and you
says
set the
send
transaction.
transaction.
Great. So it looks like it went through. Thank God. And so now you have a short position. So you
Here
paid
it
a
is.
fee for that short position. So you always start out in the minus, because you had to pay a fee to open it up, and the fee the profit and loss calculator always includes from your absolute position. So you're about $2.77
Hmm.
down. Your leverage is a little bit over 20x. Your position size is now 1 ETH. And if you click
Oh,
on it,
sorry.
um,
I don't know what
oh,
happened there. It is it closed or something? I don't know.
no, it's
It's done.
it is yeah. So that's one of the issues that we're seeing from the node is we got where we're talking to multiple
Oh,
nodes.
fine.
So there's your position. So
So finally,
yeah,
here
it
it is.
jumps around. That's from some traffic. We
Okay.
got a response from multiple nodes. One of the nodes said that the position hadn't been processed yet. Another node said it did, and so that's
Mm.
why it flickered there. But those are some of the issues that we should see
Okay.
alleviated on say mainnet. So now if you click on the position again, you'll notice that you have the ability to update it. So you could change the collateral, you could change your leverage or your stop loss or your max gains. I don't think we need to change any of the position here.
Okay.
So you can exit out of that. And then the next thing to check out is the earn section. So
All
let's
right.
go to the earn section and let's
Okay.
provide some liquidity to the platform. So you notice that there's only one market
Mhm.
here, and that there's been a lot of activity, so a lot of fees collected.
Okay.
So the APRs are very high. We don't expect APRs like this on mainnet, but
Mhm.
there's two different types of liquidity pools you can participate in. There's the LP pools, which are liquid, and then there's the XLP pools, which have an unbonding period. So the unbonding period, I believe, is currently set to 45 days. So if you lock up your LP token in the form of XLP,
Mhm.
then you get extra rewards. So roughly 2/3 of the real yield reward, which in this case is paid out in the ETH token, the ETH token, is paid out to you as a liquidity provider. So the first thing you're going to want to do is click deposit,
All right. Here we go.
and then you can decide whether or not you want the rewards from the LP or XLP. And you'll notice that the XLP is higher. And you
Yeah,
can
you
just
see the
again put
XLP.
in, and you can just put in, go to LP,
Mhm.
um, and you'll notice that if you type in the dollar equivalent, so you can type in,
Let
let's say $100 again, we'll
Okay.
deposit, and then you just deposit that, then you'll start earning real yields on a per block basis.
And
Now,
what about
uh,
the oh, okay, I see. Okay.
and the
So
slider
this is
is
the
another way
percentage
to
of the
see.
amount. Ah, okay, I see.
It's
So
the slider is the percentage of the amount of Ethereum that you have in your wallet.
okay, got it. So I deposit and then my Leap wallet pops up and I just approve the transaction. Hopefully, I still am using the low fee. Oh, okay. Send transaction.
Great. And so we should see that on chain in a minute. And now you can click manage also. Now you see you've deposited a little over $100.
Mm-mm.
And if you'll notice the withdrawable yield is 0 now.
Mm-mm.
But if you come back in an hour or so, you'll see that you'll have already started earning Ethereum.
Mm-mm.
And if you click manage, you'll be able to see some statistics about your position and about the liquidity pool in general. So you'll notice the word manage is under my deposits.
Okay.
And then here we will see, and again, these are testnet numbers, so you should expect different numbers on mainnet, but you can see the APR of the LP pools, the XLP pools, and if you slide down, you'll see the total value locked in these pools. You'll see the delta neutrality ratio. When the delta neutrality ratio is 0, so you as an LP are not exposed to winning trades. You're not exposed to loss of winning trades. And then you'll see the collateralization utilization, which is the percentage of XLP or the percentage of liquidity deposits that are currently being utilized by traders, that are currently lent out to traders. So it's about 85.66% there. And so you can always reinvest your yield. You can always withdraw. You don't have any yield yet, but if you came back in a few hours, you could, compound
Okay.
that gains. And then now let's navigate over to the history page.
Okay. Here we
And
go.
and then you'll see your trade history, which doesn't have a P&L yet because you
I
it hasn't been in the market long enough.
Yeah, because
So
we
we'll see
play
that
short.
filled in. Yeah, we'll see that filled in over time. And then the same thing with your deposit history. We'll see more detail will come to market over time there. And then obviously you can click on the position to see more details about it. I don't believe you can click on the LP, but you can click on the trade history, and that will show you some more details. It might not be populated yet.
Okay.
Under trade history, where it says short in the
Oh
direction.
yeah.
And then so you'll be able to see some more details there. And
21.26 leverage. Okay.
Yep. And so that's the product. So it's designed to be super simple to use.
Mm.
It's got a lot of functionality baked under the hood. It's probably the best ratio of advanced trading features with super simple UI out there of any trading product within the DeFi space. And we're very excited to bring this to mainnet and to see how, consumers like retail uses it, to see how institutions use it, and then to see how developers use it.
Wow. So yeah, this is really awesome for us to use right here on the Levana testnet under the C network. So thank you for guiding us right here, Jonathan. Hopefully our subscribers and viewers are enjoying and learning at the same time and getting started using the Levana testnet. And of course they also have a learn section here as well. So yep. So it's just a
This takes you
knowledge
to the
base.
knowledge base, and this will constantly be expanded. But the best place to learn is through our Discord. To join the community on Discord, to say hello. We will have trading competitions, so you can sign up for the trading competitions.
Okay.
We've got different closed communities also within the Discord. For people that are particularly helpful or who have leveled up. There are some games. There's raffles and with prizes. It's a really great community. A lot of these guys have been around for over 2 years. Throughout the ups and downs we had on Terra, and we've got a robust roadmap where we will have different badges and NFTs that you can earn to unlock advanced trading features on the protocol itself. And we really want to put a focus on education and use gamification to help with education and to create a more sticky product. So we are we're really excited. We are really excited to to push and be at the forefront of what is possible, within decentralized finance and within just crypto in general. So I'm glad that you liked the product. Thanks for taking the time to speak. And if you're listening to this and you want to reach out to me, you can find me on Twitter or Telegram at madcapslaugh, MADCAPSLAUGH. I'm also pretty active on the Discord. You can talk to some of the mods, and my DMs are open, and Levana's DMs are open as well.
Wow. So yes, you've heard it from Jonathan, guys. If you want to learn more about them, so the best place is to head over to their official Discord channel. So I have just included it right here on the video description. Okay. Now, before we wrap things up, Jonathan, do you have some parting words for our subscribers and viewers who are tuning in to our podcast today?
Yeah, just you should really be proud of yourself. If you're here and you're listening to this, it means that you're super early. It means that you stuck around during the bear market. It means that you're interested in learning and in bettering yourself. And you should consider yourself one of the lucky ones. I wake up every day and I'm just so thankful for the opportunity to be able to build something that's really meaningful and has a chance of making people's lives better. So thanks for listening, and I look forward to talking to you in the future.
All right, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our special guest for today's episode of the Nomads podcast. We have the head of communications of the Levana Protocol, Mr. Jonathan Caras. So once again, Jonathan, thank you so much for your time here with us today. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, take care.
Okay, and also I would like to thank all of our subscribers and our viewers who are tuning in to our podcast right now with Jonathan Caras, the head of communications of the Levana Protocol under the testnet. So for more information and important resource links, so I have provided them right here on the video description. So once again, just a friendly reminder to all of you that this podcast doesn't promote any financial or investment advice. Okay, so yeah, just to be fair and transparent to all. If you have enjoyed tuning into this podcast, guys, please spread the word, share this to your friends, and share this to your social media channels for them to be aware about Levana Protocol. So this is just only for the intention, for educational and informative purposes. Okay. And one more thing, guys, I would like to invite you all to smash the subscribe button, hit like, and turn on the notification bell for more videos, podcasts, AMAs, and so much more. So I do have a question for you all. Did you enjoy tuning into our podcast? Has this podcast helped you a lot regarding Levana Protocol and gives value in any way? And what do you think about it? Just let us know right here in the comment section. So once again, this is Nomad Fury, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you all for watching. Thank you.
Bye. Take care.